Peace, everybody. I'm doing this video to highlight the failure of the divest black movement and their leader, Cynthia G, over the Sha'Carri Richardson weed scandal and how she was suspended from the 100-meter dash team while Michael Phelps was allowed to compete and win multiple championships, multiple gold medals, even though he also was, I think, tested positive for marijuana. He wasn't kicked off, yet this black woman was kicked off. Yet the so-called divest black movement, the so-called black women who says that Zaddy is somehow better, they're faced with this situation. You have a black woman and you have Zaddy right here. Who is the black woman going to choose? Who are they going to side with in this situation? Are they going to say Michael Phelps is good, like they say Zaddy is always good? I was watching an episode of Cynthia G's podcast, and she had a British Caucasian male on her show, and they were both criticizing the so-called black man. And I posted a super chat for $10, and I say it's funny how we are the object of your show and you're talking to a British peasant, property of the Queen of England. 2 minutes later, she said she ended her show. We gotta go. How can you be a man in the United Kingdom, even though you're in Australia, even though you're probably in Canada or Jamaica, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya? They are all British territories. All of those people are property and subjects to the Queen of England. How can a Caucasian male criticize a man in a country in which he freed himself? We defeated the Confederacy. We have no master. A British male is a slave to the Queen of England. Your words are useless. You have not even freed yourself from bondage. You don't even have freedom, but you want to criticize the so-called black American man. And all we have is freedom. The freedom to do, the freedom to not to do. We can do what we want to do. You are a subject to the Queen of England. Here we go. Sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson is being compared to another American athlete, Michael Phelps, after testing positive for cannabis. The South Dallas hopeful and Tokyo Olympics favorite could be shut out of the games after she tested positive for the banned substance. The athlete ran the 100 meters in 10.86 seconds last week, making her one to watch in Japan. However, Reuters reported that Thursday, the 21-year-old had tested positive for an unspecified prohibited substance. It is unclear whether she will appeal the test results. Richardson appeared to respond to the situation in a cryptic tweet posted on Thursday, writing, "I am human." She is set to appear on NBC's Today Show Friday. The reports prompted many commenters to compare Richardson to swimmer Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympic of all time with 23 gold medals, who was disciplined in 2009 after he was photographed inhaling from a marijuana pipe. The incident led Phelps losing sponsorship deals, and USA Swimming suspended him from competition for 3 months and withdrew his financial support. Phelps never tested positive. Of course he didn't test positive because they didn't test him. They didn't test him. See what I'm saying? But hold on. Another person posted, the Olympics really trying to block Sha'Carri Richardson for weed, which means Michael Phelps is about to get dragged. See, they trying to say he's about to get dragged. They want to protect Zaddy at all costs. These are the so-called black women that we think are the backbone, the foundation. They are protecting this Caucasian male. Look at this. Look at the irony. I wonder what they're going to say today. Are they going to defend this black girl? Or are they going to defend this beast, this criminal who probably was on drugs when he was winning them gold medals? Now, the so-called black woman is talking about divest, the divest movement, meaning they're going to withhold or withdraw money and support from the black man, right? Or the threat to withhold this support, which is a sanction. They're going to sanction the black man to compel him to do I don't know what, or they're trying to starve him to death. This is a war tactic that the so-called black woman is waging against the so-called black man. But the black woman doesn't have anything invested in the black man. What businesses do you have money invested in? What businesses do you support that the black man owns? What banks? The average black woman has a bank account in a Caucasian controlled bank. They live in condos or houses owned by Caucasians or the government. They shop at grocery stores owned by Walmart or Amazon. The black women have absolutely nothing invested in the so-called black man. The black women, and I'm going to show it to you, abandoned the black power movement to join the women's liberation movement. Watch this. Black women join women's liberation movements in the 1970s. They've been abandoning the black man since day one. Hold on. Since day one. When feminism ignored the needs of black women, a mighty force was born. They've been trying to get in good with the white women since day one. And the white woman has never done anything to promote or support the so-called black woman or black people. The so-called black woman allowed the so-called white woman to consume all of the benefits of the civil rights movement with affirmative action. They said nothing about it. Not only did they rob the so-called black woman, they robbed the black man. The so-called black woman allowed the government to disenfranchise the black man from the black family in the 1970s in exchange for welfare and ghettos and poverty. They traded a black man for ghetto poverty. They traded the black man for projects, Section 8 housing, food stamps. This was the trade-off. And you never criticized Joe Biden, the Caucasian controlled government, none of them, for this policy. You blamed the black man who was kicked out of his own house, forced out from his own family, and you was the co-conspirator behind that. You took that money. You made those deals. You signed those contracts. You forfeited the children for your money and your independence. The so-called black women have been participating in genocide since the 1930s, agreeing to abort their children, to sterilize themselves, to prevent themselves from reproducing. The so-called black woman is talking about Zaddy is so good, but when Black Wall Street was destroyed, Zaddy killed black women and children. Watch this. The victims in the Tulsa race riot. Watch this. Deaths. Total dead or displaced unknown. Unknown. The white man was killing black women just like he was killing the black man. This survivor. The black women survivors. They survived. They seen the tragedy. They witnessed the tragedy. And now the so-called black woman is talking about their future salvation lie in the hands of Zaddy, the white man. But I'm going to show you this. You're not criticizing the so-called white man for this debacle failure when they built this building in Florida that collapsed. This collapsed building in Florida that was designed and built by a Caucasian. Hold on, look at this building that was destroyed. The white man had this failure, this architectural engineering failure, and a so-called black woman has nothing to say about it. This is going to be your future with the so-called Zaddy. Just like this building caved in on itself, your future will cave in on itself. Hold on, let me clear up my bandwidth. Clear up my bandwidth. My bandwidth is kind of messed up. Fix my bandwidth. Or whatever, but let me get to this video. Check this out. Check this out. Hold on. This gonna be the black woman's future, just like these Caucasians built this building that collapsed. Built it with concrete buildings around. Look at this. Look at this. This is gonna be your future with Zaddy. It's like this failed architecture. They tried to build a building, but every building that we built, the so-called black man built, is still standing. We got pyramids standing for thousands of years that hasn't collapsed. But your future with your Zaddy is going to collapse just like this building. Look at this. You build on sand, it's going to collapse. The soil that you built it on is corrupted, corroded, and rotted. And what is these so-called black women going to say about this black woman being disqualified, yet Michael Phelps was able to compete and win 23 gold medals? What are they going to say? Nothing. They're going to somehow blame the black man. I don't see a black man in this picture. Where is the so-called black man at that? Where is he? There's a black woman and there's a Caucasian male. What side is you gonna take? You gonna somehow blame the so-called black man for this double standard hypocrisy? Is that what you're gonna do? Hold on. I don't know what this sound is, but I'm turning that off. I don't know what that is. Nobody trying to hear that. Nobody trying to hear that. But there was something else I wanted to say. You know, when you look at history and you look at the laws and the rights in this country called the United States, even the world, you can't think of not one situation in which the so-called white man have fought for anybody's rights other than himself. You could say, okay, Joe Biden advocated for Asians, the anti-Asian crime bill. That's because he belongs to China. China gave him and his family $1.5 billion. But in 50, 60 years, what group did Biden advocate for rights and justice other than abortions or crime bills to throw you in prison forever, or to allow illegal immigrants to come here to get jobs, to weaken the black community? What has they ever done for the so-called black women? How did they improve your life? You feel that giving you Section 8 ghettos and welfare was improving your life, but look at the results. Your children are destroyed. You're not married. You have no wealth. You're at the bottom of everything, and you thought you was winning. But think of anything a so-called white man ever did to help the so-called black people. I could think of 2, maybe 3 in the history of this whole country. You have Abraham Lincoln, who they claim was black. You have John Brown, and you have John F. Kennedy, and all 3 of them got killed. They killed all 3 of them. None of them survived. But name any other so-called white men in the history of the United States that have done anything for anybody except themselves. Yet they get all the support, all the credit, all of the investment from the so-called black women. The black women are totally brainwashed. They believe that they're inferior. They believe that they are nothing. They don't even believe, like, okay, you're not talking about divesting in the Koreans who own your whole beauty industry, nails, hair, everything. You're not divesting in them. You lining up to get in their beauty salons and purchasing the hair weaves and nails. If anybody should be, you think about divesting in, think about the people who you give the money to, the support to, because you're definitely not giving it to the so-called black man. The so-called black man gets nothing. Gets nothing. I don't know what they doing out there with the so-called black man getting nothing. Nothing. No support whatsoever. But I'm gonna end this video because I think I talked enough.